Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is Habitat Now. I'm Aaron Schey, and we're going to be reviewing the upcoming MasterWorks auction that will be, it's online now, but we'll have live bidding in September 9th via liveauctioneers.com and during our event here in Detroit, celebrating 50 years of Habitat. It's going to be an amazing event. You're all invited to it. Many of you have RSVP'd. There's still some room left, safety precautions in place, and it's going to be an amazing time to celebrate the founding of the gallery, Ferdinand Hampson, who started the gallery, and all the artists in the Habitat family. I'm going to go over some of the upcoming events a little bit and then get into the auction. I know you're all here to see that. Many of you have seen the auction works. There's a catalog, which I have here, which will hopefully show up on my screen, but it might not. It will be in your mailboxes soon, just waiting for our mail house to send them out. So I'm eager for you guys to all see that live in person and look forward to your thoughts. So I'm going to share my screen, and Ferdinand is here joining us, the founder of the gallery. Say hi, Ferd.
Hi, Ferd. How you doing?
Good to have you here. Thanks, buddy. Ferd picked out a couple pieces he would like to talk about. So we'll get to those in the actual talk. So thank you all again for joining me. So the invitations are being sent out. Many of you received these. They're by request. What's interesting too is if you are attending and have paid for the weekend, you actually have an opportunity to win a piece of work by artist Peter Hora. He we've asked him to see if we can auction or give away this maquette piece triangle. It's actually stunning. That will be given away via raffle ticket. So if you're in for the show and have paid for the weekend, it's a great chance to win a beautiful piece by Peter Hora. A lot of the artists are attending over the week too. So make sure you've seen the list. A great amount are coming in, and we're eager to see them and eager to see you. Your friends will be here. It's an amazing event. We've done this, I feel like 1,000 years now, so we got it down pretty well. And the grand opening, the vault will happen too. This is our new back room. Many of you have been familiar with. Some of you have come and seen it. We're going to be tweaking it a bunch, and it's going to be a great experience for you to come explore. The Glass Art Fair, I think, is going to be online September 3rd, which is a visual exploration of some of the works in the show and beyond. So for those who can't come in, you can experience it that way. Isn't as impressive as seeing the work in person, but a lot of our artists have some amazing things, and I want you all to see them. So they'll be online on the second year of this exhibition. I will also mention that Steve Lynn has an exhibition opening up at the Fort Wayne Museum of Art, September 11th, same weekend of our show. We're going to be zooming in and saying hello. And he has a lot of work ahead of himself, doing some amazing installations in the museum. And if you haven't been to Fort Wayne, it's an amazing place to see and explore. Their glass collection is growing exponentially. I feel like every minute I get a call from him saying there's works that are appearing in there and being donated. It's a great place to go. So without further ado, we will have a dialogue, and you're welcome to unmute yourself and have any questions. I've kind of tied in a lot of the details about each and every piece in this auction. And Ferd is also here to add his 2 cents. And the first piece in the auction, which is a stellar piece by Harvey Littleton. And Ferd, do you want to talk about Harvey and the piece?
Sure. Most of you know that Harvey Littleton is considered the father of the contemporary American glass movement. I generally don't use the word movement, but this piece here is one of those pieces that has all the representative kind of work that he did in this period of time, which began in around 1982 and continued through the 80s and into the 90s, and even some of his last works. And that's the gathering of different layers of color and cutting and polishing the piece.
Yeah, it's quite a stunner, and a great scale too. And I figured this would be a great way to start the auction off with a beautiful piece by Harvey's work, well-recognized name. I expect to get some serious bids on this guy. April Surgeon, this one's also you, Ferd.
Yeah, the reason I did that is that we were on a trip to Seattle, which we're going on again in October. And we went to April Surgeon's studio, and I was really attracted to this piece. It's a snowstorm, winter scene, and one of the clients acquired it. And I thought, for my feeling, it was one of the nicest April Surgeons that I had seen. So it's kind of fun to have this part of the auction.
I agree 100%. It is a great legacy to see come back through the gallery as well. And right now it's currently in our vault and will be on display during our event. Next work, we have a Stephanie Trenchard piece. If you have seen a lot of the Zooms, which we all have experienced, we did, I think AACG did a Fired Up visiting her studio. Colorful work, cast work. She usually does more recently figures of females. This was an older piece from the David and Joanne Den collection that's available to the highest bidder. Each teapot is unique, and each cube is actually separate from the other and stacks together like this. A beautiful example of the work, very peaceful and fun. And I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Stephanie's every day. Dale Chihuly, single piece, well-known name in the world. A large scale, 23 inches across. So it's colorful, has the unique property of being a single piece alone, never had parts that went along with it, and lots of colors to explore. Julie does really well at auction, so I expect to see this one fly and find a home. John Lewis, many of you are familiar with his work, and he's still working today. These cast tables, we've had a couple at auction in the past. They're very, very nice. This particular one came from the Belkin collection, and we actually went down there and picked it up ourselves in person with Rob and Dave. Luckily, those two guys are strong because it does weigh a good amount. We carried it out, you know, and I believe it's called the Black Orb table because it has the 4 black orbs that hold the glass together. Quite large at 42 inches in diameter and 17.5 inches tall. This sat in their front sitting room, and it is quite a nice piece and in great condition. Cappy Thompson, a well-known artist, stained glass. I've learned a little bit more and more about Cappy's work because I've never had it at auction before. And it's an impressive piece at 45 inches tall, 65 inches wide, wall-mounted, framed. It's quite a beauty. And if you have a chance, if you like this work, you like to see more about her, do a little bit of Googling and you can see what other work she's created. This is one of the nicer ones that I've seen we have, and it's quite a substantial piece by the artist. This is a fun one. So many of you are familiar with Berta Valline's Janus heads. I've seen them for years at the shows, and they're usually unique. This particular one is an addition by the studio. Name escapes me at the moment, but it's a fun small piece. It's only 5 by 7.
Like Costa.
Yeah, Costa Boda. Thank you for.
Yeah.
It's quite a fun detail piece. You can see inside the glass, like the detail of it. It's quite small, but it's a great example to have and fun one to have in the auction. Costa Boda, right? Kit Kabler and Michael David. This work is very beautiful, but very fun work by these pair of artists that have been working together for decades. I originally thought it was only one of them, Kit Kabler, but after doing a little bit of research, you found out that they always work together. This work is from David and Joanne Den, and there's another one after it as well. Just shows that the carving and cutting technique these artists have is quite impressive, and they're very fun works. Dan Rothenfeld, this is someone I've done a little research on. He's extremely popular in his home area of Ohio, and he's been working for a long time making these stacked glass forms. Each piece is unique. This is probably one of the nicer ones I've seen and all. I'm going to mute everybody because I'm getting some feedback. And if you want to talk, feel free to unmute yourself. Come on, computer.
I think he's retired now.
Is he?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Gotcha. I don't know why my computer is not muting everybody. So let me just run through real quick and make sure I get everybody muted because I'm hearing myself back. All right, good. Okay, good. Yeah, he's probably definitely retired, but I did a little research on him, and there's some beautiful pieces out. I haven't seen this work in anybody's collection. This one was from the Belkin collection, and you can understand why as they lived in Ohio. But it's quite substantial at 20.5 inches tall. Eric Hilton, this chalice piece, we had this at auction once before, and it didn't sell, so we priced it accordingly and trying it again. These auction things don't always go right the first time, but this work is a 3-piece, has a base, the center, and top that all disassemble and reassemble. And it's quite substantial, 17.5 inches tall. It's magical. Eric Hilton is quite talented. We've been representing him together for years. I watched his Zooms recently. He did one with a gallery down south. And it's just incredible what he can do. There's a secondary Hilton we'll come to later in this collection offering. This is Stephen Palla. Ferd, do you want to talk?
Yeah, Stefan Palla is an artist that married to Zora Palova. They both live in the cutoff area. Used to be the Czechs, and now they're the Slovakians. And both he and his wife are the best known artists, and there's books on them in Slovakia. This particular piece was the largest work that he had ever made. And I'm not sure of the exact weight of it. I just know I could never lift it, so I don't know. But you see the glass in there changes colors from a green to a gold color. And the optical glass makes it just change and makes it a very illusional piece. And probably the most impressive piece I've ever seen of Stefan Palla.
I would definitely agree. It is a impressive work. It does weigh a lot because I had to move it. It was sold at the gallery originally and then lived nearby for a while, as you could see. And then once the seller was moving there to a different home, we went and picked it up, and I had the opportunity to pick up the base, and the base was heavy. It was definitely supported by weight, but it is available and will be in the auction. A fun Paul Stankard paperweight. Many of you have been to the gallery and seen we have quite a plethora of secondary market works by our buddy Paul Stankard, best paperweight maker in the world.
I just wanted to mention too that this piece comes from the Belkin collection, and that is the most extensive collection of Paul Stankard's work in the world. And we have really the entire collection, aside from some pieces that we have sold. But every one of them is spectacular. And one of the reasons for it is that Paul Stankard was very good friends with Mike Belkin. And in turn, Mike Belkin actually supported Paul Stankard. He gave him money at the beginning of each year so that he could have what Paul would feel were his finest pieces. And this is one of those.
A heck of a friendship, I'm sure. It worked out. They were doing this for a long time too.
Yeah, many years.
Right. A great and elegant piece by Tim Tate. Many of you seen his video work. This one in particular is called Going Home. You can't see the video, but there will be a video posted online soon. And it's basically different houses flying by the screen as you're driving home or walking home. He's well known for these mounted their video screens with a memory card in them. We sold them. We have been selling them for years, and they're quite popular. This is the first one I think we have at auction. Ferd, this one's for you.
Yeah, I wanted to mention it because obviously stylized and technique-wise, this is not a real strong piece. But historically, 1965 is a remarkably early piece by the pioneer of studio glass. And this, many of these works from 1962 to 1966, 67 were destroyed because annealing was not really fully understood. And so bringing the temperature down slowly on the glass to stabilize it wasn't something that many of the artists knew about. And so consequently, it became even rarer because most of the pieces from that era broke.
Right, if they collapsed or fell apart. And many of us have stories about older pieces that we've seen do that. And this one is a very thick piece and has survived and will survive. It is a little piece of history.
Yeah.
Dante Marioni. This piece came from the same collection we picked up, the William Morris piece, which is at the end of the auction, the last piece. Interesting and like a patched work vessel, almost. It's 22 and a half inches tall. Quite a nice work. I think that this will get a lot of attention at auction. It's probably You know, if you've seen a lot of Dante's work, I have never seen one like this. And it's a single piece and made in 96. This is one of the masterpieces in this auction. This is a recent Lino Tagliapietra, who, as many of you know, has just retired. I can't pronounce the title, so I'm going to try it my best. My Italian isn't great, so Ambelico. It is a circular, like, I guess a citrino kind of piece on a base, and it's quite large. I would say it's, I don't know why it says 21. It should say 28 by 28 because it's a complete circle. And this piece was purchased in 2016, and the client wanted to sell it because she is deaccessioning her entire collection and donating everything. So it's a rare opportunity to get a piece that's this recently made at auction at an amazing start price. And as many of you know, that his retirement, there's been a little demand for the work. So this could be the piece for you. Little detail of it. We couldn't really tell the back from the front because he has signed it on the right side, dead center, and the left side is where the pipe connected. So when I went to the client's home who had it, they had it on the right side face forward, but the winner can obviously play with it.
Aaron, I haven't seen this piece in person. Is the surface of it carved?
No, it's not carved. It's completely.
It's got a depth feeling that.
Yeah, it has a little push mark right there, so it does have some depth, but it's not carved, as far as I can tell. No. See the color in it. It's an amazing work. Ferd, this one's for you.
Yeah, this is again from the Belkin collection. They just have some remarkable works, aside from the Paul Stankards. And this one is nature piece. You know, the feeling, the look on the face, it just leaves a lot of mystery. Is this figure coming out of the leaves, emerging back into nature? It's I think, a really beautiful piece by Janusz.
I agree, 100%. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to talk about this. This was from 1979, which was our second paperweight exhibition. And the amazing thing is, we were showing a variety of artists working in glass, mostly from America, and we didn't get a whole lot of national attention. We put on a paperweight show, and all of a sudden we're written up in magazines and others and newspapers out of town. It was quite remarkable. Well, there were 4 pieces sent by Mark Pizer, who was not a paperweight maker, not really used to making weights. So this piece became particularly special because it uses his technique of dotting and attaching the hot glass to rods of glass to make the imagery, which was different than all other weight makers. And it's one of the reasons why Pizer is so revered, particularly this series.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his work too, and big fan of this series. I own a small paperweight myself with some foliage and butterflies, and it's one of the pieces I love in my collection. Jack Schmidt, many of you know Jack in Ohio. Looks like a motorcycle Santa Claus. He's been working with the material for a long time, and usually he has larger outdoor sculptures or he has bigger pieces that mount to walls. This particular one is a small single blown form on a table, just something simple but beautiful. And I think this is a rare opportunity to get a piece that isn't so overwhelming, but Jack makes a variety of beautiful things, just one of the many. Many of you know Alex, one of the hardest working men in the glass business. He's been on top of his game lately. He told me recently he's been selling a lot of work, which is great to hear that he's busy during this time. And we offer this one particular piece. This piece was purchased from the gallery by a local client, and the children inherited the collection and we're starting to deaccession it. And I wanted to make sure that this piece got in this auction because I find it quite beautiful. It has Alex's Bernstein technique where he cold carves metal into the glass while it's cold, and it fuses into the glass. It's quite an amazing process. Many of you have heard him talk about it, and he named it after himself. But it's a fun and powerful piece at 17 by 18 inches wide. This one I can use a little help for. Why don't you tell me a little about this artist? Do you know much?
Hikimoto, yes, I
Yeah.
visited his studio, and he uses powdered glass with like a glue, and then he removes it and makes the imagery that you see here, and then fires it. And he's terrific with this technique. Look at the detail on this. And then combining that with the carved glass on the exterior and that wonderful base. So yeah, just a really neat piece. Not too many of his works have gotten to this country. Chapel Gallery represented him for a while.
Yeah, we've gone through one or two, I think, at auction, but looking at the imagery, it's quite amazing what he can do with his technique. It almost looks magical. Steve Weinberg, everybody probably is familiar with the artist. This is a large, wide boat series. These works used to go for a ton of money, and we're happy to have a couple of great pricing in our auction. 23 inches wide. As many you may or may not know, he has retired from creating, and I think he still has a gallery or studio, but he himself has retired. So it's a rare opportunity to get a piece like this. Many of you are familiar with his blocks and his other bodies of work, but this is a marvel piece, and I believe it also from the Belkin collection.
Mm-hmm.
Third.
Yeah, this is a Dan Clayman, a major Dan Clayman, as you see there by the size of it. The idea behind these were fascinating because Dan was in the staged lighting business before entering RISD and getting his master's in glass. And if you take a light source and watch the beam go down, you'll see how it widens up towards the bottom. And that's really the inspiration of this piece. It's very minimal, but just compelling. It's pretty hard to walk by without gazing on it for a while.
Yep, and this work was by the front door of the person's home who was consigned to the gallery, and it looked like a stunning pillar of light right by their front door. It is a beautiful piece, massive, yeah. Museum quality. Back to Paul, different shape, exploring a lot of his plant life and foliage. There's always hidden things in these works. Paul is obviously a master, and you've seen his work in orbs, but this is a chance to opportunity to get the cube shape. This work has a blue base that's usually one of the sides just kind of, or sealed in a color that affects the overall view. He's done this with a few pieces, and going to the Belkin collection, I've seen it done in the orbs too, but it's just a beauty. You know, everything he creates is absolutely stunning, and he's always posting on social media today what he's doing next, and he keeps blowing my mind. It's one of my favorites to see what he does next. A little detail there. Get close to the flowers. It's always fun because people can name these flowers sometimes, and they blow my mind. Just, oh yeah, that's this, that's the other thing. And sometimes people even call up and ask us, hey, do you have any flowers like this on any of Paul pieces? And with Belkin's collection, I'm able to go in and find them. Do a little Google and actually find them in the pieces and say, yeah, I've got 3 choices for you. It's a while. The late Ben Moore, as we know, many of you know, he just passed away. It was terribly sad to lose such a legacy. This particular work is, we picked it up also with the piece that's in the finale of the collection. The seller was moving, so we picked up the pieces to offer. 16 by 16, so it's not super massive, but basically a staple of the artist, showing exactly what he was well known for in a beautiful color. Edels and Kathy Elliott, many of you tuned in for the AACG visit of their studio in Australia. We offered a couple pieces, maybe 1 or 2 earlier at auction. Artists I'm learning more about every day. They've obviously been creating for decades, but you catch and learn more and more every day. Beautiful blown work, lots and lots of colors, very abstract, called Poise 1 from 2012, and 33 inches tall. It's very beautiful, and if you learn about these artists, they have quite a legacy of work.
I'm not familiar with this particular series. It's the first one that I've seen. Have you seen more, Aaron?
I have. In my Googling, I've seen a couple, but they've been around for quite a while, and they have quite a variety of work. But some of I like, some of it is not drawn to as much, but this one is just a very peaceful and beautiful in color. This is the grate in front of a window. There you go, Ferd.
Yeah, this is Antoine Leperlier from France. And generally, Antoine is involved in the history of man. He's gone to Pompeii and done castings. And this particular piece has a skull, and beneath it is a diagram with arrows pointing to various parts of the body. And the head has almost a landscape quality on the interior. Really a beautiful piece. It can be very meaningful in a variety of ways, but the artist hasn't told us exactly what the content was, which makes it even more intriguing.
Yeah. And when I first started the gallery, he was doing these series, and it was great to see the talent of the artist. And we actually had one at one time with a skull on both sides. This is one of my favorite series by the artist. Yep, Ferd.
Yeah, I wanted to discuss this because at this time, we had a show of both Bill Carlson and Steve Weinberg. And before we opened the show, every Bill Carlson was sold. And I just remember Steve Weinberg saying, for Christ's sakes, it's like showing with the Cabbage Patch Kids. And this series happened to be, I think the most popular that Bill did. The glass elements are a mixture of vitrolite, which was a glass that was made in sheets in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and discontinued in the 50s, and cast black glass, and then safety glass. If you notice those little lines in the glass up there, that's the early safety glass that was combined with these metal elements to stop it from shattering. It's really a beautiful example of his work.
I agree. Two-part piece and assembles together, and it just glistens. It's beautiful. You can see a detail of the safety glass he's talking about. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, Ferd. Thanks for sharing that fact.
Mm-hmm.
The other Eric Hilton, massive piece, 60 inches tall, has beautiful, has a lot of different kinds of glass in it. It's the word for it. I can't think off the top of my head. I know it will come to me. A museum quality piece. The carving and the etching on this work is astounding. You come and see this work and it's all the way up higher than you. That base comes with it. Yeah, just a marvel. And this will be on display during the auction.
Does the base, is that part of the 60 inches or is that just the glass?
I have to double check that. I think it's just the glass part, the base, the metal to the glass top, not the black base below. Yeah, I will double check it though. The black base does come with it because it fits directly on there.
Beautiful piece.
You can see the detail. Diachroic glass. That's what I was looking for. Diachroic, where it slowly changes color. That purple changes all kinds of color as you walk around it.
Look at that carving. It's just astounding.
Yeah, it's amazing to see what he can do.
Yeah.
And many of these photos were taken by our photographer, Dan Fox, and many of you know he is unbelievable, and we're great to have him in our family. Colin Heaney, do you want this one first or the other Colin Heaney? Which one do you want to take?
The other one.
Okay. So Australian artist Colin Heaney, plate-like work. This particular work mounts to the wall with 3 different hooks, exploring lots of fun visuals and colors, triangles and symbolisms in this work, having multiple meanings throughout the world, the pyramid and the eye, and the water formation in the center. We've done Ferd used to show a lot of Colin Heaney's work in the day, and we're honored to have him in this auction because I find these works very, very interesting and beautiful. Giles Bettison, another Australia. We keep going to Australia. We had one of these works in the last auction. This is from the same collection as the one we sold the last piece in. A lighter piece, though, only 13.5 inches tall, showing his technique of Marini, creating a beautiful form, something he's well known for. And as I think he has moved back to Australia and is still working today. You can see some of the Marini's up close.
Yeah.
Very, very beautiful work. Bird.
Yeah, this is Leah Wingfield, and it was a series, a rather brief series, as many of her series are. And this one is the eye looking through the keyhole, cast glass, considerable scale, a very, very heavy piece. I know because we have one in our private collection that's called Time Flies. And as you know, Leah has done some amazing series. And oftentimes in the middle of a really impressive series, she'll quit and go on to something else that has intrigued her. And so I really enjoy that about her work, that you can actually trace it with a variety of different series through her career. The first, the African, and so many people know the series with the dancers.
Tango.
Thank you. I was missing that term.
No worries.
Yeah, the Tango series, and her current work. It's really wonderful, wonderful work.
And you can see the detail of it. This is a fun one to include in the work, and it's the eye watching you or you watching it. A marvel work we have, which is kind of a rarity of Chihuly, a Venetian series sculpture. A beautiful gold. It's almost designed for the Habatat 50th show, being the right color. Celebrating the 50th is the color of gold, and it's a larger work at 25 inches tall. Quite amazing actually to see in person and to explore the whole sides of it. I expect this to do well because Chihuly does well at auction. A larger Lubinsky piece. This is from the same collection that the tall Dan Clayman came from. And this was also purchased through the gallery back in the day, and the client has moved. I love the pyramid form. This is Lubinsky's favorite color, which was the color he drew in, which is charcoal gray. An immaculate work in perfect condition. A rare opportunity to get a piece of work by Stanislav and Yaroslava, creating, a historical collection of works that are popular throughout the world. And in the future, supposedly there'll be a museum opening up, celebrating them, hopefully in the Czech Republic. You can see the detail of this particular work, which is called Penetration Through the Cone.
1993, so it's well before the professor passed away.
Well before. Here you go, Ferd.
Yeah, I wanted to mention Colin Heaney. And I don't think very many people know that Noel Hart worked with Colin Heaney, worked for Colin Heaney. And Noah has actually come on to continue showing, whereas Colin has retired quite a few years ago. I wanted to point out this piece because I feel when he worked the surface like this, cutting away some of the color and allowing it to have this, this rough textured surface, that it gave it depth and really was absolutely a wonderful feeling in the piece. It's a substantial size, 16.5 inches high. And I think in person, even more beautiful than the imagery here.
Yeah, and it's completely, it's completely, well, I think it says it's 11 inches deep, so it's not entirely round. It's kind of an oval form, but I agree for it. It is a beauty. See the detail of you said he does the carving to the top of it and to the sides of it.
Yeah.
It looks almost as if it's like he used glazes,
Yeah.
Yet he did not. Quite nice. I like that piece more and more. Robert Michelson, Organism, quite a popular artist working today still. Maybe many of you saw that piece we had in the gallery of the marbles rolling through the piece that is now part of the Imagine Museum collection. This piece, Organism, is a two-part piece. The top comes out of the base part and travels separately. A fun work, exploring space of the unknown and plant life. Just a wonderful work by the artist. Here's a detail of the top so you can get closer to seeing what was going through his head as he's exploring the flame working, lamp working, and the base of it as it stands permanently mounted well on the base. This is a 4-part piece called The Four Seasons. And in 2008, the gallery did a show called The Four Seasons, inviting artists to create work celebrating each different season. Gabriel Kunstler from Germany created this work. Each work is 14 tall, 14 wide, and it's 5 inches off the wall because of the mounting, that the brackets off the wall. So it kind of has a floating appeal. You can guess which one is which season is which. You got summer and winter easy, and I guess spring and fall, the other two. Very, very impressive work. Probably the best piece I've ever seen her make. She has dabbled in vessel forms before, but the wall panel work is some of her most impressive. Mm-hmm. I took some details here so you can get an idea and exploring each season with your eyes. You can see the winter has like a pyramid kind of feel to it as you're traveling through the never ends around here in Michigan. Gearing up for it now. Paul Nelson, many of you know Paul's work. He creates cast glass masterpieces. He saw this picture posted on our Facebook page and it blew him away. He commented simply, wow. But he saw this particular work celebrating Harvey Littleton as after Xerxes, the king of glass. Very substantial work. 18 inches.
Oh, sorry.
No, he did 18 inches tall, celebrating the legacy of the father of studio glass. Fred, do you want to add something?
Yeah, he did a series of 10 different artists, and one of them was obviously Harvey Littleton, and he really had a way of capturing the artist. And then, of course, the crown here is for Harvey's position, being the father or what can you say? Almost the king of the glass movement. Right. He also did a Dale Chihuly that was really amazing. Two of my favorite pieces. And you always know a great piece that you saw it at one time in your life, and then 20 years later you remember it vividly. And that's what I feel about his work.
Yeah, the whole series of 12. I can't think of them all, but I remember Chihuly, the flower pot. I know he did a Lino, and I'm sure there's plenty I'm missing. So
there were a lot of more painters or other sculptors and other material.
Right. So your job as collectors is to collect them all. So here's your start with Harvey Littleton, the king of glass. Here's the also comes with this base that sits below the piece that I threw in this slide. Back to Paul. Now we're back to an orb form. A newer work, 2003. I think it's newer than the other one. I mean, many of you can name the flowers and the succulents that are inside this beautiful orb. I'm a big fan of Paul's work, so we made sure to include a couple from the collection, the Belkin collection in here. We could do a whole nother paperweight show at the gallery, Ferd. Maybe we'll do something like that during our Habatat 50th. We'll figure out a plan. Yeah. That'll be a good idea. Detailed shot. Each of these works are magical. I own two. I bought one for my wife, which was only sunflowers. She's a big fan of sunflowers. And I have a mask piece, but I'm sure in the future I'm going to acquire some more of Paul's work. I just love his stuff. Speaking of no heart, this is a true treasure we found in the vault during one of our visits to try to find stuff to put in the auction. And we found this 2002 work called Hummingbird that is available, and it's just a beauty. And Dan did a really amazing job with this photo, showing the different colors of this piece. And I mean, it's kind of breathtaking in a way. You can really feel the different tones working together. And it's always amazing when an artist can take different colors of glass and make them work so well together, because sometimes it doesn't work, as many of you may know. Just a beautiful piece, beautiful vessel. At 18 inches tall, a good size. Owen Braden. Many of you know Owen. We met him years ago at the gas conferences. Makes these very he's influenced heavily by, has a word for it. I can't think of it. I'm gonna look it up in the books. I don't make it up off the top of my head. I know I wrote this stuff down for a reason, right? Irish folklore. He's inspired by Irish folklore and craftsmanship. craftsmanship. It's hot sculpted. Beautiful, beautiful work. The 3 parts come apart. The mask and the instrument and the base are all separate and mount together. Probably one of the nicest works I've seen by the artist. I love the way the detail on the head, kind of matches the tone of the instrument. Just overall beautiful. Definitely something will take your breath away and will draw attention every single day. An important piece by the artist by far. Here's a closer shot of the work and the instrument. Bertolini. So this work is different than a lot of his other work. You can see that it doesn't have the Ys or the ladders in the work. It also, which is all interesting about this work, is it doesn't have the clear end. All of Bertol's works I've ever seen have had one end of the boat being completely clear, representing the unknown future of the path of the boat. This particular boat has the cane on the bottom and has the cane across the rungs of the boat, which is also rare. And that object in the center, which I took a detailed shot of, is not a face. It's more like an asteroid or some kind of space rock. So I kind of feel like this particular work was done with that kind of ethereal unknown of the universe, different than a lot of other work I've ever seen. And so it's kind of fun to see this work at auction because it's so different than the work he's done in the past. Comes with the stand and it's just amazing. And it is sand cast, and it's a great size at 21 inches in width. Something to think about if you're looking for a different kind of balloon. And that brings us to our last piece at the auction, which is the William Morris suspended artifact. Definitely a marvel, definitely an impressive, masterpiece. It has I can't even count them all, but it's got multiple points. The bar that's across the top that holds all the glass is glass itself. The stand is metal. And many of you know William Morris's work, but Ferd, you can jump in on this one.
Yeah, I don't know where this came from, but it's one of the strongest hanging artifacts that I've seen. And for me, this was his strongest series because sometimes there was not a direct copy, but close to it of particular primitive or cultures. The objects that he would make would be inspired by them. This one is really unique to Bill Morris, and it certainly carries on that feeling of primitive work, but it's very much his own. And this particular one is just fantastic.
I'll show you the closer details of the work itself and the outside of the work. It is a masterpiece and needs a good home. So a couple quick things for wrap up the auction. Quick link so you can find it easily. It's going to habitatglass.com. And just clicking the link there, it will take you right to the auction on Liveauctioneers. You're obviously welcome to put the auction up over here. You're also welcome to click on that to call me and ask me questions and place bids over the phone. Set up phone bidding or private silent bids. You actually save a percentage because the online system charges a 24% premium. And with me, if you pay by check, you can get down to 16, 19 by credit card. So we have about 19 days until the auction. So you're welcome to take some time and look when you get the auction catalog in your hand. I'm eager to talk to you about it. Pieces are up for you to see and explore on the Liveauctioneers site, and hopefully you'll be able to get a copy of the catalog in your hand. Let me stop sharing my screen. And thank you all for joining me today, and Ferd as well, for this review of the auction. I look forward to hearing from you all. And if you have any questions, this would be time, or else we can bid adieu and have a great weekend.
Thanks, Aaron.
No problem, Ferd. Thanks for joining me. This was a lot of fun. I learned things myself when you're on these talks, because a lot of these works came through the gallery back in the day, or you worked with something similar.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, have a great weekend, and we'll see you all real soon. Bye.
Everybody.
Bye.
See you, Ferd.
So long, Steve.